you're already using agents, you probably skipped something important, and that something is tools. In this video, we will build a correct tool based AI system using LangChain and Gemini without agents, and I will show you why tools don't work the way most tutorials claim they work. Now, before that, why tools exist? See, LLMs are good at reasoning, but they are bad at doing things. They can't fetch your documents, they won't be able to call APIs, they can't execute any logic. Tools exist to give model more capabilities, not intelligence. RAG gives the knowledge, tools give the action. So remember that. Now, tools versus prompt tricks. Prompt tricks look clever until they break. Tools enforce contracts. When a model calls the tools, it is not guessing, it is following a schema. That makes the whole pipeline more predictable and easy to debug. Why we are not using agents here? See, I have a strong opinion. If your system does not need any loops, there is no environmental feedback, or there are no goals to achieve, you don't need agents. Most real world systems are RAG, tools, and rules. Agents will come later and they have their own problems, which we will see. Now, enough talk, let's go to the code. To demonstrate tools, I'm using an AI assistant that searches documents using tools. So this is going to be our project structure. We have a docs.txt file. This contains all your information and the document which is going to be searched with tools. And then we have environment file. It will store your environment variables. Then chain.py, main file, rag file, readme and tools. Here, every file has a very specific duty. It is not optional. This is the architecture. Now, let's move on to the first file, which is our rag file. So, what I'm doing is I'm getting the vector store, embeddings, document loaders, and text splitters from their respective libraries, and I'm making a retriever function. So, what it will do is it will take the document, it will load it, split it in a chunk and with a chunk size of 500 and an overlap of 100. Then the documents will be splitted based on the splitter. Then the embeddings will be created using this embeddings from Hugging Face and will be stored in the vector store. Also, one thing I want to point out that if you have no loaders and no documents, you have no retrieval. This is where many PDF Q&A chatbots or demos they quietly cheat, like they don't show this part much, which is wrong. Now let's move on to our second file, which is tools. Now this is our tools file. See, what I'm doing is I'm creating a search tool and I'm passing the retriever. This is also a very important concept. Your tools won't have access to your retriever implicitly. You have to define it. Only then they will have retriever available for them. So this is the decorator tool from LangChain tools, and then we are defining the function. Now this docstring is relevant here. It is important because what will happen is that your model will take this tool and check its docstring to know what exactly this tool does. So it's a very good practice. It gives model, or you can say your LLM, more context to work with. And then after the documents, I'm just passing the whole documents from this, like this function I'm using. And when we return this function, it goes to retriever, and from retriever we get the output. Also, it is a good practice. See, what you can do is you can make this retriever a global variable, which you should not do. Why? Because it can create some errors. This injection method, it might seem complex at first, but it is going to be way more predictable, and your whole project will be way more testable. Like you can write test cases for that. Then we have our third file, which is chain.py. So I'm getting all the dependencies and I'm loading my model and I'm making the chain like prompt LLM, and I'm also binding the tools to LM. So the search tool, this is coming from here. And you can also check this create search tool, and we have passed the retriever. Now, here many people think that I have bound the tools to LLM, so now it should execute. That's not the case. LLM decides whether to use a tool or not. It only allows the model to request for them. So this distinction should be clear. Adding it here does not mean that tool will always run. That depends on the model which you are using. Now let's move on to our main file. So I'm making this function called chain call. I'm checking the response. After that, now see this very carefully. Normally, what we used to do is we take the response context message. See, response.content we usually do. Here we can't do that. We have to first check whether a tool was called or not. So if response.tool calls is there, we will take the first call because see we have only one tool, so we don't need to check the whole array. So I'm printing here tool's name and its arguments. Now I'm checking if the tool name is search docs. So I'm getting the retriever. This I can put above. It will be better that way. Yeah. So I got the retriever, docs, and then the tool result. So the final response will be we have to send the tool output back to our model to get the final response. So we have to check whether the particular tool was called or not. Keep that in mind. If you expect that response.context will work all the time, it won't. Because see, response will only come when LLM is used. If tool is used, so what will happen? The tool data will come. It's not going to be in the object like response.content. Response object will be modified. There will be a tools section and then it will go there. So keep that in mind. So this is the whole code. Now, this code will be uploaded in the GitHub. Your job is to edit this tools.py file, add some more tools, make it more complex. Like this search doc tools is quite simple, but you can make it more complex or you can make it better. So I will highly suggest look into it, add another tool, improve the schemas, and observe the tool selection behavior. Like if there are multiple tools here, how the model is selecting a particular tool based on the query. And one more thing, doing this assignment, I'm telling you, do not add any agents. Now let's run this code. See, now I printed the tool that was called, the query it used, or the arguments it got, and we have the output here. Now you have understood tools properly, we are ready for agents. So in the next video, we are going to discuss agents, what they are good at, where they fail, and when not to use them. So that's all for this video. We will meet in the next one. Till then, bye and take care.